chapter we are going to study is People as a Resource. The three investments which transform people into assets or resource are education, good healthcare, and training. Uneducated, untrained, and unhealthy people, they find it difficult to care for themselves and they can do little for the society. The educated, trained, healthy people, they are an asset to the nation and they are also known as resource. They not only make a good life for themselves but they also contribute for the betterment of society. India's rising population is often seen as a problem. Educated, skilled, and healthy population. This contributes tremendously to a nation's productivity. Investment in educating and training people, providing them with healthcare, is more than recovered by the higher productivity of a healthy, skilled workforce. Human resources, they put other resources to productive use. When the existing human resource is further developed by becoming more educated and healthy, we call it as human capital formation, which adds to the productive power of the country, just like the physical capital formation. Human capital is one way superior to other resources like land and physical capital. Human resource can make the use of land and capital, whereas land and capital cannot become useful on its own. Investment should be done in human capital in the form of education, health, training of industrial and agricultural workers in the use of modern technology, useful scientific researches, and so on. So, this way we can take a step further to make the population an asset rather than a liability. The Green Revolution in India, which is a result of better knowledge and techniques provided to the farmers. India's IT industry is a good example of how largely a human resource based industry it can make a significant contribution to the country's gross domestic product or GDP. So any child with an investment in education, medical care, training, he can become a useful human resource. Educated parents, they are more inclined to spend on their child's healthcare, education and training. The child who grows up to a good human resource, he similarly takes care of his children and this later forms a virtuous cycle. Uneducated parents, they are less inclined to invest on their child's education and health care. Child who grows up with such disadvantages, he tends to keep his children in similarly deprived conditions and creating a vicious cycle to poor human resource. Japan is a good example of a country investing in the human resource. In spite of lack of natural resource, it is among the rich and developed countries. Such countries, they import the natural resource needed in their country and invest on the people, especially in the fields of education and health. These people have made efficient use of other resources also, like land and capital. Efficiency and the technology evolved by the people have made these countries very rich and developed. People work to generate the income to be able to provide for themselves and their families. National income of the country is measured by GDP, gross domestic product, which is the total value of all the goods and services produced in the country in a year. The different activities people carry out to create the goods and services which contribute towards the national income are known as economic activities. Economic activities can be classified based on the nature and purpose. Based on the nature, the economic activities can be classified into three sectors: primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Primary sector economic activities are agriculture, forestry, animal husbandry, fishing, poultry farming and mining. Secondary sector economic activities are quarrying or mining of stone slabs and manufacturing of goods. Tertiary sector economic activities are trade, transport, communication, banking, insurance, education, healthcare and tourism. So in this image we see three different sectors and the activities included in three different sectors. Economic activities which are performed with the purpose of generating income or profit are known as marketing activities, and the examples are production of goods and services for customers and salaried jobs. Economic activities which are performed with the purpose of producing or gathering things for self-consumption are known as non-market activities. These are examples are small-scale farming, fishing, gathering the jungle produce, processing the raw food by cooking, etc. In our society, men are expected to go out and work to earn the money and provide for the family. Women are expected to stay at home and look after the household chores like cooking, cleaning, washing and the children. But today, women also go out, they work and get paid just like the men. The earning capacity of a person depends on their education and vocational skills. Women with poor education and skills, they are employed in the unorganized sector. Main disadvantages for women employed in the unorganized sector are less wages than the men, low and irregular income, no job security and legal protection, absence of basic facilities like maternity, leave, medical care and child care. Women with higher education and advanced skills they secure high paying jobs such as teachers, doctors, administrative officers, education, healthcare and training. They make a population an asset to the country. And they are the three factors to determine the quality of a nation's population. Uneducated, untrained, unhealthy people. They are termed as the nation's liability. Education helps unlock the doors of new aspirations and opportunities and allows having a good life. Education inculcates good values and helps finding good employment to let contribute to the national income. Education prepares a person in becoming a responsible citizen and thereby contributes to the country's good governance. Government has taken various steps to spread the education among the people. Government strives to provide universal access to education. Government makes various plans to increase the retention of students. Special emphasis is given on the girls' education. So the plan outlay on the education in the first plan was rupees 151 crores, but it has increased to 3766.9 crores in the 11th plan. Expenditure on education was 0.64% of the GDP in the 1951-52 year. It has increased to 3.3% of the GDP in the year 2013 and 2014. Government is in the process of establishing Navodaya Vidyalayas in every district of the country to provide universal access to education to all the children. Central government has also launched Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan in partnership with the state and local governments. This is a time-bound initiative to provide free compulsory elementary education to all the children between 6 and 14 years of age by the year 2010. Government also provides midday meals in the government schools. so that the children of the poor people can attend the school. Midday meal has helped many children from the poor families to attend the school. 11th plan, it focused on increasing the enrollment of students from 18 to 23 years of age in higher educations. This plan aimed to combine formal, informal, distance education to provide better access to education to students from all parts of the country. Government also aims to provide vocational training. The number of universities and colleges of higher studies, they have grown in number since 1951, but still they are not enough to accommodate all the aspiring students in the country. The state of education in the country, it is measured by the literacy rate. Due to the constant efforts, literacy rate in India is higher for male population than the female population, and it is not uniform across India. This is due to the tradition of less emphasis on the education of girls. People in the urban areas are more literate than the people in rural areas. Literacy range Literacy rates range from 96% in some districts of Kerala to under 30% in parts of Bihar and Jharkhand. The 11th plan focused on increasing the enrollment in higher education from 6 to 9%. The strategy is to increase access, quality, adoption of state specific curriculum to motivate the enrollment in higher education. Vocational courses are also offered and the use of information technology is being maximized to attain the goal. Plan also focuses on distance education, convergence of formal, non-formal and IT education. This is an image showing the number of institutions of higher education, their enrollment and faculty from the 1951 year to the 2013 year. Health. Staying healthy is important as good health allows fighting against the illness and helps one to perform to the full potential. Good health allows working more efficiently and being an asset for an organization. Good health is important for overall well-being as an individual too. National Health Policy. It aims to make healthcare and family welfare programs more accessible to the people, provides them with nutritional guidance with special focus on poorer sections of the society. There has been tremendous increase in the number of healthcare institutions in India in the past few decades. Health subcenters, primary health centers, community health centers catering to the rural population, they have grown in large numbers. Good indicator of increase in health facilities is number of hospital beds available in India. The pool of trained doctors and nursing staff has also increased in India. Health of the population is indicated by parameters like life expectancy, infant mortality rate, birth and death rates. Health of the population. It is indicated by parameters like life expectancy, infant mortality rate, birth and death rate. Better healthcare facilities. It increased the average life expectancy in India. The health of a population is indicated by parameters like life expectancy, infant mortality rate, birth and death rates. Better healthcare facilities, they increase the average life expectancy in India to 65 years by the year 2000. Infant mortality rate, this is the number of deaths of the children under 1 year of age per 1000 live births. Child and family care programs, they reduce the infant mortality rate in India from 147 in 1951 to 42 by the year 2012. Birth rate is the number of babies born per thousand people at a given time. With increasing awareness about family planning, the birth rate came down to 22.1 by the year 2012. Death rate means the number of deaths per thousand people at a given time. With better healthcare, the death rate in India is decreased to 7 by the same year. Education healthcare facilities are not uniformly distributed in India. There are still many places in India which do not have basic facilities. There are only 381 medical colleges in country and 301 dental colleges. States like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, they have the maximum number of colleges. Unemployment, it exists when a person aged 15 to 59 years of age is willing to work at acceptable wages and cannot find a job. Such person is called as unemployed person. The form of unemployment is different both in rural and urban areas. In villages, people face serious unemployment or disguised unemployment, while in towns and cities, people face educated unemployment. Seasonal unemployment occurs when people cannot find job for few months in a year. Disguised unemployment occurs when people appear to be employed but do not increase the productivity at the place of the work. People facing the disguised unemployment, they have to find other work where they can actually be productive. Unemployment faced by the people who are matriculates, graduates, postgraduates is known as educated unemployment. So studies tell us that there are more unemployed graduates and postgraduates than the unemployed matriculates. Evils of unemployment are it wastes the precious human resource, making people hopeless victims of depression. It creates an economic overload. This is a situation where small percentage of employed population it supports a large percentage of unemployed people. Deterioration in the health and quality of life. Parents unwillingly they withdraw their children from the school when they can't afford their education due to unemployment. It negatively impacts the overall economy of a nation. Employment scenario in different sectors of India. Agriculture is still the largest employer. The percentage of people working in agriculture has declined in the recent years. Due to the fact that agriculture is the largest employer, the problem of seasonal and hidden unemployment, this is quite high in India. At 7.2% unemployment rate in India, it is comparatively low in the world. Economic activities are divided into primary, secondary and tertiary sectors. In the primary sector, agriculture employs the largest number of people. In the secondary sector, small-scale manufacturing units, they employ the larger number of people. Tertiary sector has avenues like biotechnology and information technology. They generate a large number of jobs for the people.